And this is our third update on the New York City bomber. Calling in from our phone, we tried to use Skype today, and Skype has changed the deal. You now, in order to use Skype, have to download their app. And downloading their app gives them permission to go into your computer anytime they want and move things around. So we won't be using Skype anymore. Great, huh? A big improvement. Anyway, this story just gets more and more bizarre as the days go on, and no one seems to be paying attention to how bizarre it is. If you believe the story as presented, this guy woke up Saturday morning, drove 60 miles to plant one bomb, drove another 60 miles home, then drove about 15 miles into New York City. By the way, he was in a car, so there should be all kinds of surveillance footage of his car. Instead, what do we have? We just have one still picture of him walking somewhere, completely out of context. There's no telling where that picture's from, but that's our evidence. So how did they catch this guy? Originally, they tried to sell us on the idea that they recognized his face. Well, that doesn't really make any sense, right? I mean, if I show you a video of a guy that, even if he's a known criminal, it's going to take a long time to figure out which criminal he is. You have to go through all the data and all the books and all the mugshots. And so now the story is they found his fingerprint on the unexploded bomb that was on 27th Street. Okay, and just with that fingerprint alone, they were able to figure out who he was in, a day. Really? Really works that fast? Didn't know that. Now, how did they find this guy? After driving 60 miles to the Jersey Shore, and then driving 60 miles back, and then driving into Manhattan, and then driving home from Manhattan, my estimate, about 150 miles minimum of driving, a lot of it city driving, he decided to go to sleep in the doorway of a bar in a town nearby. And he was asleep at noon. That's when they arrested him. That's when somebody found him. They found him at noontime. Now, the guy has a car. I'm going to guess he's got at least a little bit of money. He couldn't get in that car and drive somewhere and sleep in his car. Instead, he had to put himself in a situation where he could be easily trapped. I mean, maybe he's an idiot. He's a busy idiot, and he's an ambitious idiot because he had the time and energy and initiative to drive all over the place, dropping off bombs. But he decides that he's going to just make it easy to get caught. Not only that, but as soon as they wake him up, he goes into full combat mode, combat shooter mode. I mean, he didn't waste a second. Out comes the gun. It's loaded. Safety's off, and it's firing, and he's firing. That's pretty fast. Little strange that somebody so dumb as to put himself in such a vulnerable position would also be so fast on the draw, but there's a lot of things in this story that don't make a lot of sense. But we've got one clue, one useful clue. Apparently his brother got into a fight with the police. It's not clear when, and his brother fled to Afghanistan. Now, I don't know when that happened, but apparently this guy has only been radicalized recently after several trips to Afghanistan. Why was he going to Afghanistan? Maybe to see his brother. But the other question is, or the other observation is, how often does the FBI use the legal problems of somebody to apply pressure to them? Answer, all the time. So we're trying to get the timeline of when his brother got in trouble and fled the country, and when this guy, who everybody said was a fun-loving, joking, relaxed, friendly, generous, cool dude who loved cars, suddenly turned into Mr. Evil, scheming Muslim. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I'd bet that happened after his brother got arrested and had to flee the country. Anything else bizarre about this? Well, I've seen video of pretty heavy military equipment being taken into New York City, possibly in connection with Obama's visit to the UN, just to keep everybody safe. Anything else? I haven't seen the photograph. Apparently there is a photograph of one of the injured people, and from the person who relayed this to me, that person looks fresh as a daisy, absolutely clean clothes, even though he had shrapnel in his back, and, smiling and happy and trouble-free. So, I don't know, I'm going to try to dig up that photo and see if I can find it. But, again, look at the narrative here. 8:30, the bomb goes off. By the way, 10 o'clock, they found the second bomb. So when they went into their press conference an hour and a half later and were doing their little soft shoe routine, they didn't bother to tell the public, look, we found another one. Here's what it looks like. If you see one like this, let us know. Nope, they didn't do that. They let hours and hours go by. In fact, it appears that the police have never formally released that picture. What happened is somehow it got onto social media. Think about that. We'll go back to that in a second. Somehow it got onto social media, and they acknowledged that, yes, that is the picture of the bomb. So it got onto social media? Really? They closed off this. They found the bomb. They closed off the street, and then who came and took the picture? Who put the picture on social media? Does this make any sense? Does any of this make any sense at all? It's possible this guy woke up Saturday, drove 60 miles to the shore, planted one kind of bomb, drove another 60 miles back to his home, then did a 15 miles into New York City, left a completely different kind of bomb, then drove home, and then decided that the smartest way to get away was to fall asleep in the doorway of a bar in a nearby town. That makes a lot of sense. So maybe that's exactly how it happened, right? But we shall see.